I built this vehicle to be a lot of different things at once. Small enough to take anywhere, capable enough to not have to turn around, and comfortable enough to actually live in for months at a time. All of that is a balance that's quite hard to get right, and I find that most overland rigs lean too far in one direction or the other. This is a vehicle that's built around the trade-offs and tailored exactly to my specific needs for when I'm living out of it on the road full time. I first started thinking seriously about a setup like this years ago, watching similar trucks work their way down the Pan American Highway. They weren't flashy, but they were capable and comfortable, and crucially had interior living space. So this is what I ended up building to make long-term travel actually work. A compact, capable camper built to live in full time. So let me show you how it all works. The size of the camper box itself is exactly 1.9 meters square. That's about 6 foot 2 inches. And the interior is completely DIY. I must have spent collectively weeks sat in the back of this empty camper cell, thinking about what should go where for the perfect feng shui vibe. I knew I wanted a proper work surface, and so this ended up as my kitchen area, with a double gas burner and sink combo from Dometic. The tap uses water from a fully pressurised system, fed by a 70-litre underslung water tank, with the pressure provided by a 12-volt Sureflow pump. One of my most hated jobs when camping is washing up, so having a proper sink is an absolute game changer, and no kitchen would be complete without a junk drawer, would it? And this is mine where I keep all the odds and ends, including my lighter for lighting up the twin burner. Having the two burners is awesome for making more complex meals, and with running water right there on tap, the cooking experience in here is close to that of a house. This is where I keep my washing up liquid, kitchen utensils and soap. I keep my kitchen sponge in the space underneath the speaker, and my cooking oil on the far right. The coolest thing about this combo unit is, once you're done cooking and washing up, these glass lids just fold right down, effectively doubling your workspace. This is what I use for music in the camper. It's just a little JBL clip. I have tried messing on with complicated integrated sound systems, but in the end I found the little portable speaker to be way better. One of the most difficult projects on the camper was the canvas canopy. I puzzled over this for months before fortunately my mum came to the rescue. She has a bit of a background in working with fabric as a hobby, and we worked together to design this topper specifically for the dimensions required here. She then got to work on the sewing machine and absolutely nailed it. This thing can unzip on both sides for two nice big open windows to allow light in and airflow through, making a massive difference on hot summer days. The canopy is really well thought out with all these cool little details like poppers and clasps. She also made these cool cushions that bung into my porthole windows. Now for one of the coolest parts of this build, the drop-down double bed. This thing attaches to the ceiling using flexible toggles. When unclipped, the bed folds right down and rests on these pull-up shelf brackets at the back. Unlike most Overland vehicles, access up onto the bed is via the side. The reason for this is the vehicle is a short wheelbase, so there wasn't room to have access at the rear of the vehicle. This was an unconventional approach by necessity, but ultimately, I'm really pleased with how it turned out. So up here, it's like a full double bed in the wedge shape. So I've got a window out here and window out that way. So yeah, this is honestly, without a doubt, the best sleeping situation setup that I've ever had in any Overland vehicle. It's so nice up here. You sit up here, undo the windows, you've got like full breeze across. Great for sleeping, for naps, for the whole thing, you know. Absolutely amazing up here. And the best part is it's so easy to set up, you know. It's just two little pull tabs, those shelf brackets, you just deploy them, pull the bed down, and boom, you're done, set up. And then when you're done, it's just a case of lifting it right back up and securing it with the pull tabs. And there you go, so it's full camper mode enabled now. Just drop those down, like that, and you got all this space. So sick, honestly, it's my dream camper. So everything is built exactly to my specifications, exactly to what I needed and wanted on the road. It's just about perfect. I mean, with something like this, you're always doing something. You're always working on it or doing a little bit of something or trying to make improvements and stuff. But the basics really are there. It's an awesome vehicle for off-roading and living full time on the road. Next thing I want to show you is the storage inside the camper. So I keep all my clothes in these top-down access storage boxes. The cool thing about these is they're super narrow, so they don't encroach too much on the living space inside the camper, but they're really deep, so they actually do provide loads of storage. Storage is one of those tricky ones inside of a camper build because you're trying to actually live in amongst all your gear. So I was pretty pleased with how this solution came out. To keep my clothing organised, I use these things. They're called e-bags. It might seem like a simple thing, but these are a game changer, making it possible to sort your gear by type, so t-shirts, underwear, shorts and trousers, etc., and totally eliminate the need for rummaging around for whatever you need on any given morning. Alright, so next up is the fridge. This is the 35 litre ARB Classic Series 2 fridge freezer, and it's one of my favourite things about this build. Since it has top-down access, I built this custom drawer system to allow the fridge to slide out into the living area. The cool part about this design is that it only takes up space when you're actually using the fridge, and just slides right back inside the cabinets when you're not. These fridges are absolutely bulletproof. This exact one has seen heavy service for over 6 years now, and I know people who've been running theirs for 12, 13 years with no problems. This kind of longevity is really important to me because I don't want to be dealing with a broken fridge in some far-flung corner of the world. Next thing I want to show you is my main camper window. This is a Dometic model with an integrated blackout blind and fly screen as well. This is another case of the details making all the difference. And this window is just a really well thought out piece of equipment. No sponsorship at all on this product, I just love it. It secures with 3 internal clasps and allows me to let a ton of natural light and airflow into the camper, which again is crucial for hot summer days. And the 4-way clasp system allows you to deploy it without thinking about it. I have a carbon monoxide alarm fixed permanently up here on the ceiling, and this here is my control panel for the entire camper. These are aircraft toggle switches, and the dials show me the water tank level and also the level of the leisure batteries. The switches control pretty much all the electronics inside the camper, including the water pump, uplighters and downlighters, which are made by inlaying LED light strips into aluminium U-channel, which helps diffuse the brilliant glare off the LEDs. I use a neutral white colour for the actual light that the LEDs cast, so that's neither a cool white or a warm white, but somewhere in between. The entire electrical system of the camper is run by these 3 products here, all from Red Arc Electronics. The Manager 30, which is a complete battery management system, the TVMS Rogue, which is like the brain of the system, and the Red Vision display, which you can see here. This combo has been an absolute game changer because it allows me to intelligently monitor the life of my batteries, how much energy I'm producing from the solar array and the vehicle itself, and also how much energy I'm consuming, which is absolutely vital for planning on long off-grid trips. Another really cool feature of this system is that it can be run and monitored via an app that has all the key information you're going to need to know exactly where you're at electricity wise. My entire auxiliary system is based on 200 amp hour lithium batteries from Renogy, and I have all of this located in one of the bins underneath the bench seat inside the camper. Lastly on this panel, this is the switch control for my diesel heater, which is how I heat the camper. All of my camper utilities, including the diesel heater, live under the front seats of the Land Cruiser, pretty well packed away unless I need access to them for some reason. So I'll show you them here. So this is the night heater that's beneath the driver's chair, and this is the compressor that runs the whole compressor system underneath the passenger chair. And in here, I have my water pump. So this is kind of all the camper utilities, all controlled from here, and this pulls air from here and diesel up from the main diesel tank, and the outlet is right here, so it warms the camper really quickly from this this hot air outlet right there. The show flow pump pulls from the 70 litre tank underneath and supplies water points on the outside and also on the inside, and the compressor is plumbed into a 1 gallon air tank, and it runs the airbags at the back of the vehicle, and also it runs an air point. So this air point is located on the driver's side just under the dash, and when you flick the switch it activates the compressor, which uses a solenoid to automatically fill the 1 gallon tank underneath the vehicle, meaning I have compressed air on demand. This flappy paddle system is what runs the airbags at the back of the vehicle. So Each one of these controls one side. You can jump air like that, and it's going to hold 1 gallon of compressed air, so you can quickly air up and down. I have 2 plug socket outlets, one on the inside of the camper and another on the outside. I have 240 volts available here, which is supplied by either my inverter, which is located with my other electrics and converts 12 volt from my lithium batteries, or via shore power, which plugs directly into the grid if I'm on a campsite or somewhere else with electricity. So this is the shore power socket, and I installed this on the passenger side of the camper to be as close as possible to my leisure battery system. And inside, this plugs directly into the Red Arc Manager 30 to allow for seamless automatic shore power, which integrates into the auxiliary system. So back inside the camper, this is my roof vent fan. Excuse the state of the blackout blind, which is broken, but this thing is one of the biggest game changers on the build. It has 2 settings to either pull in air from outside or suck air out of the camper, and its airflow capacity is massive. In really hot weather, this thing genuinely makes the difference between a relatively comfortable temperature and sitting in what feels like a sauna. So the drawer system on the kitchen side was all custom made. I built all this out of veneered lightweight motorhome ply, which is engineered to be as light as it can possibly be. Let's take a look at what's in here. So the top drawer is pretty much all food storage, so I keep my dried goods in here, rice, coffee, lentils, and all my spices in this compartment on the far right. The middle bit here is mostly dedicated to vegetables that keep, like onions, garlic, shallots, and I also keep my kitchen knife in here. The plastic boxes you see on the left are for eggs. They might not look like it, but they're a massive game changer. You would not believe the amount of eggs I've had to clean up that have shattered after a day off-road. The bottom drawer is all cookware, pots, pans, utensils, that kind of thing, as well as tinned food and Tupperware. So on the left here, I have my cutlery, knives and forks in this black bag. Underneath, I have 2 camping plates, which are plastic. This thing, which is a breakfast pan, my cafetiere for making coffee, the kettle, and obviously a set of regular pans. In the other side, I keep my Tupperware, sometimes snacks like these nuts, spare bagged salt, and all my tins underneath. I also keep stuff like potatoes in here when I have them, and things like a tin opener and spare utensils. If I'm being honest, I absolutely hate this drawer. Getting everything to fit is like a game of Tetris. In this little drop down, I keep boring stuff like sponges and cleaning materials, sprays, that kind of thing. And it will eventually house an onboard water filtration system, but I've not got that far yet. And finally, right at the very bottom, I keep a tool roll full of hand tools and odd bits and pieces like a tape measure, crimp set, that kind of thing. On my camper design, I wanted an open pathway from the camper through to the cab. I just have this partitioned off with a curtain, also made by my mum, and behind here I've got a few bits and pieces strapped to the back of the chairs. This is my compressor accessories. I have an axe here, some jump cables at the back. The green bag is a comprehensive first aid kit. This little thing is my bush saw for clearing fallen trees and brush off the trail. And inside the brown bag is a portable barbecue grill. I think the last thing in here to show you is what else is under the bench seat. So I have this divided into 3 top-down access bins. You already saw the electrical system, which is in the bin on the far left. So in the middle compartment, I keep a box full of nuts, bolts, screws, that kind of thing, as well as aerosols, silicons, pots of grease, and spare filters. In the compartment on the far right, I keep a big bag full of tools, as well as a ton of spare car parts, electrical connectors, general bits and pieces. And the tool bag houses my heavier duty tools, so like big mash hammer, tire iron, breaker bar, gear pullers, that kind of thing. And that, I think, is pretty much it for the inside of the camper. It's compact and functional, with just the right amount of luxury to make full-time life on the road possible. But what about outside of this beast? Let's take a look. So, first things first, this beast is built on Falcon Wild Peak mud terrains. The tyre size is 285/75/16, also known as 33-inch tyres. I've run this size for about 10 years now, and for me it's the best all-rounder size. Chunky enough to tackle aggressive tracks without being too big. These Falcons are MT-01 mud terrains, and so they have an aggressive tread pattern for tackling all the nasty stuff I tend to get myself involved with. I got these tyres around about a year ago, and they've been genuinely transformative to the ride of this truck. So what do we have under the bonnet of this beast? The cruiser is powered by a 1HZ diesel engine. That's a straight 6, 4.2 naturally aspirated diesel beast. It won't get you anywhere fast, but these engines are known for going to over 1 million miles before they need a rebuild, and I can forgive a lot for that kind of reliability. Now around this side I have my favourite mod on the entire build. This is my DIY hot water system. This means I can take piping hot showers wherever I am, which is absolutely transformative. It's really quite simple. It uses a heat exchanger plumbed directly into one of the engine's coolant lines. The other two outlets that you see here are plumbed into a line that's fed by the SureFlow 12-volt pump, meaning that it picks up water from the tank underneath, passes it through this heat exchanger, and deposits it wherever I need it. I built this lock-in water point on the outside of the vehicle with both hot and cold outlets, and with this I just use regular hose pipe to rig up my shower. The whole thing deploys in less than 30 seconds. I attach the hose to the hot water outlet, and then I just feed it through one of the tie-down clasps of the pop-top roof. Some inadvertently dual-purpose hardware right there. I reattach the hosepipe shower head, slot it into position, and open up the tap. As long as the engine's warm, you get piping hot water, so you can take a really nice hot shower in the middle of nowhere, no matter where I am. As you saw from inside, the cruiser has a pop top, but I want to show you how this works from the outside. It's held down by these clasps on either side and hinges from the front, and then releases from inside of the camper itself. The pop top mechanism is driven by 2 gas struts that push the roof right up when released from inside the camper. While we're on this side, I want to show you this, even though it's a bit of a work in progress. This is a drop-down table that I built to sit up against the side of the cruiser. If you haven't noticed by now, I'm all about the quick deploy stuff when setting up camp. I can't stand fiddly camp tables that are a pain to set up and break down again, and this design solves that issue. And the really cool part about this is the work in progress bit. This is going to be a twin burner built-in camp cooker, which will be fed from the same line as the cooker inside. So I'll have the option as to whether I want to cook in or outside. Now I just have to find time to finish this thing. So, what do we have up front on this machine? On the bonnet, I have a 120 watt red arc solar panel, which is just part of my solar array, but it was wasted space that I couldn't help but use. Up front, I have the ARB winch bar, matched with the Winch Max 13,000 pound winch, and some battle scars to prove I use it. I'm running Bush Ranger Nighthawk LED spotlights, which are awesome, really powerful lights, and some uprated LED 7-inch standard headlights. I think the company is Unishine, I'll link them down below, and these are a massive upgrade from the factory halogens. This cruiser is leaf sprung all around, with a solid front live axle, and I'm running these heavy duty AVM locking hubs up front. My wing mirrors are completely custom. I made the brackets from scratch myself out of steel to my own design, but the mirrors themselves are actually from a company called Sparfax. They're unbreakable truck mirrors, and they use some polycompound instead of glass, which has proved ideal for my rough and ready purposes. Next up, I want to show you the Land Cruiser electrics. Now, somewhat unusually, this Land Cruiser is 24 volt rather than the usual 12, so I run 2 12-volt batteries wired in series. This here is a really cool feature. It's a factory power outlet for wiring in accessories. One of the cool things that Toyota used to do to make these workhorse trucks more modular and customizable. Down here I've got a breaker for my uprated alternator, which is 100 amp, and next to that lives the kill switch for the winch. And up here at the highest point under the bonnet live the terminals for my extended axle breathers. So I have one for the front axle and one for the rear. So on the passenger side here, I have a custom side-out exhaust. This I made myself out of a generic muffler and various bits and pieces off eBay. And the reason why I did this was in order to fit the fresh water tank underneath. This now occupies the space where the original factory muffler used to sit. And while we're under here, that is an original factory limited slip rear diff and a manual 5-speed H55F transmission. And this is where the 1-gallon air tank lives, so you can see it in context. Next up, let's have a look at the cab. This has evolved a lot since I first bought the vehicle 10 years ago, and very little of the original cab remains. Alright, this is a cabin tour of my 1993 HZJ73 Land Cruiser. Here, We've got the stock altimeter and vehicle orientation gauge. So this tells you how your vehicle's doing left to right and also front to back in terms of degree orientation. And this is my favorite thing stock-wise on the vehicle. It's the factory altimeter. So this goes all the way up to 3,000 meters, and then it will just keep on going round as you continue to climb higher. Aside from that, we've got a Pioneer head unit. This is just something that I installed myself. It runs on Bluetooth. Got all the factory stuff down here for the factory heater unit and such like. I also have in here some interior lights that I wired in overhead, which I think are really useful. I use these all the time if I need to find something in the cab and the light's a bit dim. I have here my alarm system, and this is my spotlights overhead, my spotlights on the roof rack. I'm running Shieldman seats. This is my favourite upgrade that I've done to this vehicle in terms of comfort. The Shieldman seats are just unbelievable. What an upgrade from the factory. And even I had some other ones that I'd fit as an upgrade from the factory that I bought on eBay. They were old Recaros, and this is like, it's like night and day. You know, you drive any other vehicle and you're always a bit uncomfortable, and then when I jump into this 35-year-old vehicle, I'm always like, oh my god, it's like coming home, you know. The seats on this thing are just unbelievable. I cannot recommend them enough. Shieldman touring seats, the best. These ones are the Vario F model in all black, so I've got leather and cloth, and honestly, it's the best upgrade that I've done to this truck, I think. I know that sounds like an exaggeration considering how built this truck is, but just for raw comfort, when you think about it, you spend most of your time driving, and so when you know you're going to jump into your vehicle and you can be instantly comfortable for hours and hours on the road, it's like a breath of fresh air, honestly. So yeah, Shieldman Vario F seats, would recommend them to anyone. So I've got here the One Stone armrests. These are aftermarket armrests from One Stone, and they just clip on. So check this out. The beauty of these is they're so easy to fit. So you just unplug them like that, and they come right off. So it's like literally a 2-minute install. They just clip right on to the 70 series. There you go. And any 70 series owners out there will know that one of the things about the cab is that it's pretty uncomfortable. You know, without this, your arm just sort of like sits there. It's a bit weird, even with the window open, you know, it's a bit uncomfortable. Whereas this, you put it there, instant upgrade to comfort. You know, you've got a nice soft leather cushion there for your arm to sit on. And the best thing about them is the cup holders, because in a 70 series there are no cup holders, or certainly one of this age. So this means you can just stick your cup in there, be driving, drinking your coffee. It's amazing. Aside from that, here I've got an overhead shelf which I installed here, just a carpet lined piece of ply with an aluminium trim, and of course I've got my switch panel in here. I've got my sun visors here, and mostly this is currently just used for hiding cables and stuff. The only thing that I use it for storage-wise is the windscreen cover, for want of a better word. We've got our glove box in here. I just keep all my recovery gear mainly at the moment. I also keep a little sponge for if it's steamed up in here and I don't want to wait for it to unsteam. That's another problem with older vehicles. It takes its sweet time, so I sometimes wipe the windows down with that on the inside, and then the rest of it's recovery gear basically. So when I'm winching, I'll pop that open and I can immediately access my shackles, my soft shackles here, pulleys and stuff, and it's all good, you know. These are custom built consoles that I did when I built the camper. They're made out of birch ply. They're a little heavier than your standard consoles, you know, with them being made out of birch ply, but the quality of them is amazing. I also put some vinyl flooring on the top of here to finish them off, and finish them in aluminium trim as well. Over the years, these have moved a little bit. You know, these were all nice and sort of true. So I'm going to be putting these stainless steel corner protectors on each one of those when I have time, you know. But yeah, these are pretty standard stuff, you know, that's really nice carpentry, if I say so myself. It's just all your standard mess of wires in there. I put a cup there sometimes, you know, you can put your cup in there and be driving along and drinking your coffee there if you want. And if not, then boom, it's closed like that. I have magnet catches on both of these. Oh no, I don't have anything on that one, but I do have one on that one to stop it from, you know. So in the back console here, I keep this little bag full of medications that I might need day to day, as well as other bits and pieces under here, sun cream, a walkie-talkie, padlocks, just odds and ends basically. Now down here, I keep a little Hulterforce hand axe. I keep this thing super sharp, and you'd be surprised at how often I actually use this for clearing brush, branches off the trail, breaking up kindling, that kind of thing. And under the driver's seat, I've got my subwoofer, so it's a massive upgrade to the factory sound system. I've also got speakers in both of the doors here, so you can really get the music pumping. And believe me, you need it when you're off-road in this beast, or when you're on-road in this beast, because it's a 6-cylinder, naturally aspirated monster, and you can't hear a damn thing. The other thing I want to show you in here is this little camera mount that I have mounted to the passenger hold on for dear life bar. So this is a really handy little thing, and it has a 1/4-inch drive on it for mounting to all kinds of camera accessories. So for most of my videos, including this one you're watching, I use the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. What do I film on is one of the most common questions I get, so here it is. It has a built-in gimbal to keep your footage steady, which is really handy for what I do, and it shoots in 4K. So yeah, Osmo Pocket 3, highly recommended. So I think the last thing in the cab that I want to draw your attention to is my Teng Tools toolkit. This sits behind the passenger seat at all times and is an amazingly compact, comprehensive socket set. I absolutely love this kit. I've had it for 10 years now, and it has literally traveled the globe with me. With this toolkit, I've rebuilt gearboxes in the US, differentials in Patagonia, did the camper conversion and the entire cruiser rebuild, and done all of the maintenance that this cruiser requires over the last 10 years. So yeah, Teng Tools, also highly recommended. Alright, so up on the roof here, I have my roof rack, which has 4 spotlights on. I think they're called Britax. To be honest, I don't really use them much as spotlights because of the glare you get off the bonnet, but I do like them for the side lights, which are built in. These things bolt onto my roof rack through custom brackets. This entire rack was built by me with 32mm tube, I think it was. And I also built this custom jerry can holder to hold these jerry cans up here, though I don't often run them full for fear of the risk of rolling with the extra weight. So my gas bottles also live up here. These feed the twin burner inside the camper at the minute and will feed the one on the outside when I finally finish it. Both of these are butane. One is a standard British one from Calagas. The other is a Euro spec camping gas bottle. This is an aluminium box from Alutech, which I have bolted permanently up here. And inside here I keep generic stuff. Gloves, recovery straps, some oils, ratchet straps, things I just don't want knocking around inside the camper. I also have under here a spare air filter for the cruiser. I try not to put stuff that's too heavy up here for the same reason that I don't run those jerry cans full as much as I can help it. I have up here some generic brand recovery boards which have taken an absolute beating, and on the right a dry bag that has a bunch of spare clothes in it. Bulky winter clothing goes up here in the summer, that kind of thing. This is the other part of my solar array. These are red arc panels, 120 watts, very efficient and well positioned for catching the sun. This is the outside of that roof vent fan, and my entire roof system is based on what's called an unwind rail system. It uses these tie down points on modular rail so you can reposition them as you need them. Just showing you here the back side of that jerry can holder with stainless steel hinges. Alright, so back down on the ground at the back of the camper, I built the light clusters out of Defender LED lights, believe it or not. And I also have these cheapo eBay LED floodlights. Next up is the custom rear camper door. This was totally DIY, made out of bits of ply and aluminium, and it works using gas pistons and secures with these kind of crude deadbolts. I also have a rear jerry can here under slung, which I do keep full, and also the spare tyre. The jerry can is mounted in a generic thing that I bought off eBay. Again, the bolts through the camper body, pretty simple and effective, and this is another Falcon mud terrain. So around the passenger side of the roof rack, I keep this little shovel here, which is mounted on flexible quick fist mounts. And back up front here, I have these custom recovery points, which I usually just use for securing the winch hook. Again, mounted up to the ARB bar is the Winchmax winch. This is £13,000. And I also wanted to share with you my camp chair, which is a King Goanna from Oztent, I think. Again, I'll put a link to it below. So back to the driver's side here, this is the filler point for my fresh water tank. Also a bit of a work in progress, but it does the job. This is the junction for my pressurised water system, and again you can see the tank right here, slung underneath. As you can see, this thing was a pretty tight fit, and I had this custom made to fit the space by a metal worker back in the UK. You can see here the prop shaft, driveline, transfer case, and again that H55 transmission. And last thing I want to show you is my high lift jack, which I have mounted up to brackets that sit right there on the camper body for easy access whenever I need to jack this thing up. And that's it, a full walkthrough of my DIY Land Cruiser camper build. If you watched this far, you're a legend. Any comments and questions, drop them down below. And if you like this video, drop me a follow to get more. Until the next time, happy trails.